Because on social media, I find you're always seeing images of size 0 20-year-olds or less. And I really want to show our daughters in the world that women are amazing all the way through 40, 50, 60, 70. It's not your size and your age that determines who you are. It's your heart and what you're offering the world and contributing.
Hello, dear listeners. It's that time again when we stroll through the paths of ambition, desire, and success. Welcome to the Dare to Declare podcast, where we explore the enchanting world of giant manifestors who've turned their visions and goals into the stuff of legends. I couldn't help but wonder, how do some people create the lives they've always dreamed of? Is it the magic of manifesting, the power of perseverance, or perhaps just a dash of serendipity? Well, dear friends, grab your coffee cups because we're about to spill the tea on fascinating journeys of those who dare to dream big and make it happen. Join me as we sip on success stories and ponder the ever-enticing question, can we all manifest our dreams into reality, or is it just an urban fairy tale? I'm your host, Debbi Sluys, and I'm here to guide you through the labyrinth of achievement with heart and soul. Ready to dare to declare? Let's get started.
Welcome, everyone, to this amazing episode of the Dare to Declare podcast. I have a wonderful guest today, and we are relatively new acquaintances, but we've been running into similar circles. In fact, we were even together in person yesterday. So let me welcome Rita Zietsma, and she is a photographer. She's located not far from me in Burlington, Ontario. She specializes in all things portrait and dance, personal branding, professional headshots, beauty, and boudoir. Welcome.
Thanks, Debbie. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. And yeah, it was great seeing you yesterday again in person.
For sure. I love in-person connection. And I want to talk a bit about your business around that piece, around how you capture that, because you obviously, when you're taking photos, you're in person with your client and just the energy around that. But before we get there, I'm just really curious because your career path started as a high school teacher.
Yes.
So can you talk a bit about being a high school teacher? And then especially because I have a number of listeners who are like me and like you, who went from one career and then perhaps pivoted or ended or started an encore career into something else. So can you talk a bit about that part in your life and then what helped you make a decision to be where you are now?
Yeah, no, I would love to. I was that girl that went to that private Christian school where everybody got married after grade 12. And I didn't have a special somebody. So I came out of grade 12 going, now what? And I really didn't plan or have a trajectory to go to post-secondary or think about a career. So I went to grade 13 in public school, and there everybody was on the trajectory to go to university. So that's when I started thinking about what am I going to do. I knew I had the skill sets to be a teacher. And that's what I did. For more reasons than one, I couldn't get into anything in university but humanities. I didn't have my maths for multiple reasons in high school, partly because I kept dropping out for different things to do. So I got my teacher's degree and just started teaching, not knowing what else to do and thinking, well, at least I'm making an income. At least I have an education, and it'll come to me. Something will come to me. So as I was teaching, loved it, hated it. Really good things about being in the classroom and also not so great things about it. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to make a change in career. So I went to Australia for 2 years and I taught a high school there. And then I traveled for 6 months. And when I came back, I started waitressing. And everybody that came into the restaurant, I just said, what do you do? What do you do? Like, I wanted to know what options were out there for me. And actually, one of the guys I was working with, a waiter in the restaurant, he was a graphic designer. So I said, what is that? Because people said at the time, why don't you get into photography? But it was still back in the days of film. It wasn't what it was today. And I thought to myself, if I'm making a career for myself, it has to be more lucrative than photography. So I became a graphic designer. I thought they aligned really well. I went back to school at the age of 30 and got my diploma in graphic design. And then I worked in the industry for 15 years. I worked with corporate, and I worked with a printing company, a magazine printing company. In all the jobs I had as a designer, photography was always a piece, especially when they found out that I loved photography. And then I started a side hustle of photography once we were into digital cameras, et cetera, et cetera. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a side hustle. So the way I started was I started running camera courses out of my house.
Ah.
Yeah, so I did evening courses, and altogether I had over 350 people come to my house over the couple of years that I ran these courses, and that allowed me to make some extra money to then buy the gear, and yeah, work my way into a full-time job. And then being in corporate, like many, many women, I'm sure, Debbie, you've spoken to, corporate went through a phase of downsizing, and I too saw the writing on the wall. We were a team of 12. And when I left, there's 3 left, and I knew I was next on the chopping block. So it's kind of waiting for that package and preparing myself financially and even home studio to get ready to go into full-time photography. And now I'm in my 10th year of full-time photography.
Oh, wow. Okay. I thought it was shorter than that. That's amazing. Congratulations. What a beautiful journey. And I love that you said, you went back to school at 30 and you're still reinventing yourself. And so I want to jump ahead into your story and then I'm going to go back. You alluded to the magazine thing. We're going to talk and dive more into that. But I noticed that you love to travel. So I wonder if that bug was bit you when you went to Australia that first time to work in high school there, because 35 countries. Wow. So at least, okay. So how do you pick? How do you choose what your next destination is? And can you tell me, tell us a story of your favorite, and is there any travel story that you love to share?
Oh my gosh. So how do I choose? That's a really good question. I don't know. Initially, my heartstrings pulled me in certain ways. I actually, I blame it on my mom. She took me out of kindergarten for 2 weeks to go on a plane with her to visit relatives of ours in Winnipeg. And like, that was it. That was my travel started. Um, and yeah, I've just always traveled. I was in the Canadian Naval Reserve for 10 years. So there's travel involved with that, and just loved it. And again, I didn't have the path that everyone had. I didn't have the marriage and the kids. So that meant vacation times, everyone was vacationing with their family. Well, what am I going to do? And so as I just started, let's do big trips. Let's start doing things. And then when I got back into photography and found photography based trips, that like really cinched the deal for me because I was traveling with like-minded people, mixed groups, some couples, some singles, and I just found my tribe that I could travel with and bond with and do things we enjoyed and grow and learn in something I love. So that's how the whole travel photography piece meshes really nicely.
So there's groups that it's like bird watching, but they're like photography groups. Like
Yes.
so that you specifically go to places that you're going to photograph,
Photographers.
and then you can talk and geek out on all things cameras and
100%. Geek out in gear. Love it. Yep. And we can stay in a spot like, okay, we're going to be here for 3 hours. Anybody else would be like, okay, we've seen the lagoon, we've seen the ice glacier, let's move on. And we're like, no, I didn't photograph that nook and that cranny. And let's try this and pull out some toys and be creative. So yeah, it makes it really interesting.
you finish that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it's super. And you're always with leaders who are photographers too. So it's just a way to learn and grow and develop. And yeah, it's very cool.
So in that, I imagine you've created some friendships.
I've created amazing friendships. And the cool thing is when you go on these trips, you're with other people who all go on trips as well. So to answer your question, how do you choose where to go? The first trips were I went through Africa on my way back from Australia in the year 2000. And now that we had digital cameras and much better gear, and I have a better skill set than I did back then, I really wanted to do Africa again, with my gear and my knowledge and come out with, much better images. And then you just start meeting other people that are traveling and they're like, have you traveled with this person? Have you been to that place? And then the list starts growing and there is no end, which is kind of exciting and daunting at the same time.
So two more questions. One, I want to talk about where the naval part, like the Navy part fit into that, like that. And then also around the taking photos. So is there a goal? Like, is it pure pleasure? Is it, you just have hundreds of photos in a on a thumb drive somewhere? Are you developing them and having like a showcase, an art show? Like, what is there a goal, or is it just for the company and the travel and the pleasure?
I love that question. And I have to say it's a little bit of both. So in the year 2008, I went back to Australia for Christmas to visit my friends there, and I went to Thailand on my own as well. And I remember coming home from that trip, and I think was it film? I think I was still in film. I'm not sure, but I remember coming home from the trip and thinking to myself, "Ah, there's another trip, another beautiful mountain, another beautiful experience, but no one to share it with. And people don't care to see the photos. Like they want to see one or two. And that's it." And I kind of dropped out of photography for a while because of that. I just thought, but then when I started realize when social media came out, for one, there's a place just to share your images. And it's not about likes. It's just about connecting to other people and sharing what you've done. So there's a reason for shooting. Um, Google Plus back in the day, I don't know if you remember, but it was a phenomenal place for photographers. So I joined different photography groups. There was a group on there called the Photography Scavenger Hunt, and a girl in Edmonton started it. And what she would do, she would open up the hunt. 500 people only were allowed in, and these were people from all across the world. So Saturday, 12 noon sign up, we were on it because it filled fast. Then she closed it, had a closed community, and she would give us a list of 10 words. And we had 8 weeks to shoot whatever images we wanted to represent that word. So the word could be a color like red or white or judge or wig or different concepts. And you could do whatever you wanted to interpret that word and photograph it. And you could shoot one word or all 10. And I was a keener. I always shot all 10. But I used that as a way to get more creative. And then you're sharing your work and you're meeting other photographers. And I still am very good friends with a lot of those photographers. So I can go many places in the world now and know somebody in those cities based on that hunt. So now when I go on trips, it's about the community. It's about a shared experience. It's about noticing not just another pretty mountain, but a pretty mountain with an amazing group of people who are all capturing it really differently and learning and growing together. And then sharing that when I get back because people love it. People say, "You know what? I can't travel. I have 6 kids or 5 kids and grandkids. That's never but your images mean something to me, and that means something to me when I can share the world with other people." Did I answer your question?
For sure. For sure. I think after this, we need to talk a little bit about this idea of images connected to words. So, I'm a big vision board. So it's all about the images because our mind processes images 60 times more quickly than words.
Yeah.
However, I have a process called a power word. And so I think there's something there that maybe we could work together around um, me sending people to you once they've chosen their word and have it embodied. I don't know. There's something percolating.
100% Debbie onto something because every shoot I do, especially the branding shoots, and even my beautiful Beyond 40, the empowerment project for women over 40, we always have a planning meeting before the shoot, like a week in advance. And I will ask people, especially the branding ones, what are your 3 words? What are words that you want to convey that when people think of you and your business, what are the words that surround that? And then let's talk about how we can create images to make those words come alive, to tell the story of you so that people see that in you. So you're absolutely right with connecting words and language and images because images tell stories.
For sure. And words are, one dimensional, whereas the image is, as you said, it's based on the observer and their take on it. Like there's just so much more to it. Okay, so where did the other occupation come in around the Navy? Do they have
Yeah. So when I was in grade 11 or 10, I can't remember, there were 2 guys in the grade above me in high school that found a summer job at the Naval Reserve here in Hamilton. It was called the Summer Youth Employment Program. And it was basically joining the reserve for just the 8 weeks in the summer. And they got paid to do it. And they learned all things military. And at the end of the summer, they had the choice whether to stay on in the reserve, which is part-time or not. And I just thought that sounds like a really cool summer job. Like, who wouldn't want to do that? My friends are out landscaping or working in grocery stores. I got to join the Navy and learn how to sail and be outdoors and meet new people. So I did that. And that was the summer after grade 11, I think I joined. and I stayed in it for 10 years.
Wow.
So it was a reserve, so it's part-time. So you do it in your summers and you just say, here's my availability. And then they'll give you employment in the summer, whether it's East Coast, West Coast. I spent a summer in Quebec. I spent a summer on the North Pole. And then during the winter, it was 1 day a week. We had training night at the base. And then there were other opportunities to do a weekend here in Halifax, another training weekend in Halifax, one in November, one in the March or April. It was cold and snowy. I remember that. So yeah, and you got paid for it. It was like my part-time job, but you were doing something a little bit bigger. And yeah, if there was a war at the time, we would have been definitely called up because we were trained reservists. But yeah, that was my part-time job for 10 years.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
did we just did the listener just catch that? Like, I'm like, what did she just say? Spend this summer in the North Pole?
Yes, I did.
Who said that?
Yeah. So a lot of people don't realize this, but so remember back in the 50s, they put a baseline up north because of the Cold War, Russia versus
Mhm.
North America. So they put in the north along the North Pole what was called the distant early warning line, the dew line. So a series of stations and bases up north that would see anything coming over from Russia first before it would hit down here. So there are still some bases up there, and there's one in Alert, which is the most northerly human habitation in the world. So it's 83 degrees north. And it's a station it's a weather station and also a military base. So I actually went up there as a civilian. I signed a 3-month contract. They fly you up there, and I just worked in the kitchen. And then I was having a really good time, and they asked if I wanted to extend. I said, sure. So I extended to 4 months. And then I extended another month. So I was for 5 months on the North Pole. And again, it was just a job between, I can't even remember what it was, between high school and university or I don't know. I remember the years. I don't remember like what happened in between. But it was great pay because you got isolation pay and Miss Your Mummy pay and overtime pay because of course you're gonna work all the holidays. Why not?
Yeah.
It was just really cool being up there. Lots of cool experiences.
I bet.
And they had a dark room up there, so that's when I learned to develop film and actually develop my own black and white images. So I was into photography even back then.
So that really took an artistic turn then for you.
Yeah, it was very cool.
So talk to me, this is really helpful. So talk to me a bit about the difference between personal branding, which is what you do now, as well as other kinds of photography. Because when I see other photographers, like there's professional photographers, but then there's personal branding photography. And yesterday when you introduced yourself at the event, you said that you're an extraordinary photographer. Right? Did I get that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you photograph extraordinary women. And so
And then
again, my ears always perk up when I hear fun words like that. And so, yeah, I'm curious about what that actually means around that what does that mean to you, personal branding photography?
personal branding photography, I always say it's for those people who are CEOs, CFOs, wanting to extend and grow their career, maybe still shifting around in what industry they're working on, always growing and developing. They need personal brand images as well as the business owner. So somebody who owns a business, they have their own website, and we know people buy from people. So if you're selling something, if you own your own business, whether it's coaching or a product or whatever, and you want people to buy from you, they first need to know, like, and trust you. And the first thing people do is go to your website and they look at you. Who is she? What does she look like? And we just said it, images convey 1,000 words. So to have one headshot, and a headshot truly is just up headshot, like what you and I are seeing of each other right now is kind of headshot on a plain backdrop. That's not going to do it. That's not personal branding. Personal branding are we'll put a headshot in there, but we're going to get a library of images for you so that people see the different sides of you. The images are going to tell stories about who you are, stories about who your client is, stories about the product and service and how you work in your industry. And then that library of images you can use to post on social media, to put 5, 6 different images on your website, to use in your newsletter. I think of Gail Sylvester from Sylvester Mortgages. she is like her branding images. She's done a phenomenal job of using all these images recreated. And again, because we first had that planning strategy call, I can learn about her business, learn about what she does, learn about her ideal client. What are her words? How does she want to be seen? Because who is she? And then we created a whole library of images. And when I see her newsletters and the different images and how she's using them, she just had a whole new website and she's used 7, 8, 9 of images on the website. It's not just the same image. People really are getting a good sense of who they're going to work with when they hire Gail. She's a great example of how to use your branding photos.
So I've had branding photography as well, and it's one of the things that actually started my company. And so, what do you do to prepare women, especially when we've been used to, as you said, the people you were talking about in those positions? They're probably, if they've been in a maternal role, maybe they've been the one behind the camera, or they're always with friends or with their family, that they're now going to be the model. And so, can you talk a bit about this idea of worthiness? I don't even know if that comes up for you, but for me, it always does with my clients, this idea of feeling worthy. And then how do you prepare them? Other than you talked about the words, which I think is really unique and beautiful.
Yeah. So, like I said, when people first inquire of me, they call me, they say, I've heard that you're a branding photographer. I'm looking for branding images, or so and so recommended you. We have that initial conversation where I just talk about the process. I let them know how I work. I let them know the prices. I let them know everything that's involved. When they pull the trigger and say, yes, let's do this, the first thing we do is that strategy or planning call. So we'll sit down and I'll look at their website ahead of time, what they have going on already. Are they creating a new one, or are they have already created it and now they're populating it? They need new images. Um, and again, I just talk to them about who are they? What do people say about them when they're not in the room? How do they want to be seen? What are their colors? Show me some of your wardrobe ideas. Show me some of your thought processes. How do you work with your clients? Are there any props? And even more important, I would say, what is your key messaging? I always ask people, what is your messaging? Think about blog titles. Give me the 3 blog titles you always use. Give me the messages that continue to come up time and time again on your social media. Now let's create images around those messages, because people, when they look at a website, they first look at the image. If the image is interesting, they'll look at the title. If the title is interesting, they'll read whatever you have to say. So let's create the image that leads into the story. So here's another example. There's an estate planner, Debbi, and also a Debbi Stanley, and she's in Guelph, an amazing estate planner. She knows so much. So she came to me for her branding shots. And one of the things that she says, her message is always, people need to have the money conversation before their parents pass away, before they pass away. They have to have a will. They need to talk about if something should happen, God forbid, to us, what are we going to do with it? So I said to her, okay, how do we talk about that money, have that money conversation in a photo? So I asked her to bring in Monopoly money, a whole bunch of it, big dollar bills, the high one, and let's just put them in her hand and let some drop, and just having it like this with an expression of on her face. So that's an image that people are going to look, hey, what's this image all about? And then her title can say, you need to have the money conversation before it's too late, or something along those lines. But that image ties in to that message that she is always giving over and over again, because that's her messaging. I have an old vintage phone in the house too. I said, you're always talking about needing that conversation and having kids talk to their parents, etc. Let's use that vintage phone and let's do a really fun one around the phone, because it's all about having the conversation. It's an old school phone. I don't know if 20-year-olds even know what a phone used to look like. So I help do the creative with them and plan what are some of the props. How are we going to create stories, whether it's in my home studio or my home studio and an on location space, or it's in your office or your studio, or we rent a studio. We plan and strategize what it's going to look like. These are the pictures we need to get for your messaging so that you can use them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so, I'm just, as a businesswoman listening to you, I'm like, yeah, those are awesome. And the more expression that you can have, instead of them just being pretty photos,
Yeah.
but like that they're not even pretty, but they're just like, oh, kind of like it's going to catch people's attention, or being surprised, or as you said, like throwing the money. And, Yeah, so
I
good.
love that you said that because I always say that to the client. This is not the time for, it's not just about getting you pretty photos and letting you walk away. This is the time to get marketing photos, photos with strategy and messaging. And then after the session, like we do our day, we do our session, professional makeup is included. If we're doing multiple locations, this could be, a 5 hour day. Within a week of that session, we meet on social media again on Zoom and we look at your images and then you can choose which ones you want in your library of images. And I coach them at that point too. That is an actual coaching call. Here's the image that created that message. Look, the expression on your face is asking the question. This one is answering a question. This one, here are some of the messages that could align with this image. Because not everybody knows how to read images, and I do. So I'm helping them see how they can start to use those images. When I talk to women about branding images and they would say to me, I've had a branding session done, I don't really use my images. I would say, why didn't you? And they're like, I didn't really know what to do with them. So when I started my branding business, I was like, I'm going to make sure that women know how to use their images. I've also created a 60-page, 40-page, I don't know how many pages, branding guide for them, full of images, but how to prepare for their session, and also showing them different branding images with a little bit of typing on each page to get them to think about our pre-strategy conversation because they don't always know where to look. So by giving them this visual guide, they're like, oh, I can see myself in that. Oh, hey, that would work. I can translate the money shot, but for me, it's not money. It's my nutritional supplements, or whatever it could be. So the guide is also a really good resource in helping them think ahead of time about how they need to be seen or how they could be seen. And then there's tips into how to prepare for the session, what to think about clothing wise, et cetera, et cetera.
So that's really helpful what you just shared about the coaching and also tying it back into their initial thing. Is there any tips that you can offer for someone coming to a branding photo shoot that would support them to relax? Because it's not a performance. And so I'm sure your energy is huge part of the success so that making a woman feel like you talked about boudoir even. So we've talked about personal branding, but you do boudoir too, which to me sounds super, super scary. So what are some of the tricks or tips or strategies that you have that you can relax a woman, whether it be a branding photo shoot or a boudoir or whatever that they're behind the camera?
Yeah, that's a great question. So actually, a little bit back to that pre-strategy. I call it a strategy call when it's branding, but when it's the beautiful Beyond 40 empowerment session or a boudoir session, I just call it our planning call. But those are key in making somebody relax when they actually come in the door because we get to know each other just kind of like you and I do on Zoom right now. We get to know each other and just in the planning, we all know that if we're planned, we feel much more comfortable than if we don't know what's happening. So a boudoir session, let's talk about again, build me a mood board, show me some of your favorite images of how you want to be captured because boudoir, there is a range of what you want in boudoir. What are you comfortable with? Show me the level of comfort you are in. And just having that conversation and even for them to share those images, the mood boards, gets them thinking this is really happening and I'm going to do this and it gets them excited and talking about outfits gets them excited and then I give them ideas and that makes them more excited. So, but they're also getting to know Rita and Rita's getting to know them and I'm seeing them, right? It's about being seen and that's why people want a photo session too. And then by the time they come in for the actual session, it's usually on hugging terms like, oh my gosh, you're here, it's session day. And I send reminders as they go and little or little messages saying, welcome to your session day, like very exciting. So all those things, right? And then I'll share with them, you're going to be nervous for 5 minutes and then you get to rock it like a model. And I tell them, and this is very true, it's your job to show up and just be open to the process. Everything else is my job. Put you in the right angles, make you feel comfortable, do your makeup, make you feel like amazing. That's all. Don't worry about being photogenic or this. I am going to guide you. And I do. I guide them through and people always leave saying, that was so much fun. Every woman should do this. Even the guys that come in for branding and headshots say that was way more fun than I thought it was going to be. I love my shots. Thank you. Like, and again, one of the biggest compliments I get from people who see my work is that I feel like I know the people in your photos, Rita. Like when I look at their photos, I feel like I know that person. Like, and that's in capturing their authenticity. And again, that's not about the lighting, that's not about the camera. That's just about how I'm interacting with them as I'm taking pictures.
I would highly recommend that. So, for you, the listener, if you have not had a personal branding photo shoot, you want to reach out to Rita. We're going to drop her information. But you have a really unique project that you've been doing since 2023, and it's the BU the Full Beyond 40 project. Can you share, like, what made you think of this idea? Was it like people talk about downloads, or was it a conversation with somebody, or were you in a magazine? Like, what inspired this project? And then can you share some stories and then how people can get involved?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. So the project is called, it's a play on beautiful because we're all beautiful. Be you to full is kind of how I've broken down the title, like, because I want people to be you and at the same time see their beauty and just being you, embrace who I am at this age and stage. And the Beyond 40, it's for women 40 plus. The idea actually came from one of my marketing coaches in the States. Um, and just making it a really good marketing idea, right? When you're targeting an audience who has the time, their kids are a little bit grown up, they have the finances now, and maybe take some time and spend on themselves, and maybe never have thought about, hey, it's time for me now at this age and stage in my life to just go in and have an empowerment session. And that's the point of the Beautiful Beyond 40. It's to capture 40 women over the age of 40 to celebrate a milestone birthday, to celebrate perhaps a divorce or a new marriage or evolving into a new step in their career, or just needing a boost in their confidence, or needing to embrace the woman they see in the mirror now that has maybe more saggy skin and wrinkles and a few gray hairs, the successes of life, all those things just to celebrate. And also because on social media, I find you're always seeing images of size 0 20-year-olds or less. And I really want to show our daughters in the world that women are amazing all the way through 40, 50, 60, 70. It's not your size and your age that determines who you are. It's your heart and what you're offering the world and contributing. So those were all the reasons behind the project. I filled 2 already. So in 2023, I had my first Beautiful Beyond 40 project. And then the culmination of the project is all the women who were shot in the magazine or in the project get put into a magazine. I send them a questionnaire so that I can get their story.
Wow.
And their photos and their story go in the magazine. And then I have a magazine release party where they all get to come and pick up the magazines and meet each other. And it's really cool. So I did one in 2023. I did my second one in 2024. And I started the third one in 2025. I think, as we all know, as small business owners, 2025 was a hard year across the board. So it's been a little slower. I am currently finishing the one that started last year. And this is my final project. So there are 18 spots left.
Okay.
I would say probably closer to 15 because I have a couple women that have placeholders on those spots. But yeah, it's an amazing project. I've had women come in saying, I will do it to support you, Rita, but I'm not sure if it's my thing. And they have left saying, oh my gosh, every woman needs to do this. This is so much more than I ever thought it would be. And they're not talking money. They're talking about the experience, the empowerment, the feeling of just, I am worthy. I have value. I am being seen. I need to be seen. It's just incredible.
You know, when my mom passed away, I think I've shared this on another podcast before, but when my mom passed away, this is going on almost 20 years ago. I could, I couldn't really find a picture of her, even for like the funeral, like picture that was just of her. It was very challenging because she was either behind the camera, shied away from the camera, just didn't do that. And, you know, I have pictures of my mom around my house. And so I also want you to think, yes, do it for you, but you're also, as you said, showing your children, leaving a legacy, like show up, like shine bright. Because what I know is when you shine bright, you create space for others to shine brighter as well. So I think that's a beautiful thing. And is one of your clients Dorothy?
Yeah, so Dorothy's in this current project. And what I've done this last year is I've allowed people to do combination sessions where they're combining the beautiful Beyond 40 project with personal branding. So they're going to be in the magazine, they're getting some just fun, creative who am I images. And again, that planning session is all about who are you? Like, are you bringing in your tennis racket or your guitar? Are you the glamour girl, a bit of boudoir? And it's all of them. Like, bring in 6, 7, 8 outfits. Let's capture all of you for the 50, 60, 80 years that you've lived on this earth, and let's capture you. So we did some really fun stuff with Dorothy. And then we also did some intentional branding photos for her business that she can use on her new website and that she's been really implementing really well. And in on social media, I've seen them on her website, in some of her newsletters as well. She's been really using them well.
Yeah, so check out Dorothy Basse. If I'm saying it properly. She's also one of my clients. So she is a certified academy graduate for vision boarding. And so we'll definitely tag her in this episode because you want to check that out. I know seeing on her social media, I think it might even be in her Instagram, but just her surprise, her awe and delight when she got the pictures, like she's got her hands over her mouth. She's just like, just so delighted with the results from you. So I just wanted to point that out. So I'm curious. I saw a picture because you had a really cool T-shirt on yesterday that was empowering that somebody had made for you, I think. Right? Or you
At a networking event, a whole weekend conference thing that I went to in Guelph a couple years ago. High Vibe Women and Michelle, oh, I forget her last name now. She's a coach and she had a table set up at this venue. And she was selling these t-shirts and I thought they were really cool. So I bought one. I actually reached out to her yesterday on social media. So I hope she gets back to me to see if she's still selling them because I have so many people that said to me, I love that t-shirt. I would love to have one.
yeah.
So she sold it. And I just thought yesterday when we were at our expansion room conference with Lee Fowler and Linda Walters, it was such a great day to wear the t-shirt that was all about like, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm creative, I'm a leader, and I'm a badass. It was just kind of fun because it was about building our businesses and showing the world who we are as business owners.
For sure. But then I saw you in the picture. I like that you posed, but I'm just curious. Sometimes the carpenter doesn't build their own house. I'm just wondering, when's the last time that you had a professional photo shoot?
That's a great question. And it's been a few years. I booked one, I dropped money down on one and booked it 2 years ago, but I haven't done the session yet. And one of the reasons is most people know me as Rita with glasses because I got glasses when I was 4 years old and I wore them for 52 years. And then I had that eye surgery 2 years ago. So I wanted to get a new branding session with this is how I look, this is how I appear. People need to recognize me. But I've actually had a lot of eye issues since the surgery. And it's taking forever to figure out what's happening, solving it. It's been forever. And I don't want to go and get all these photos of me without glasses. And I'm going to end up in glasses anyway. So my photographer's been amazing at just saying, no problem when you're ready. Because there's no point in investing in something when it's not going to be really me.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So I have not worn glasses all my life. It's an aging thing. People now kind of identify my brand with these glasses, that I wear. But I often will take them off, just because I have pictures from the past too that don't have me with glasses. But that's definitely harder for me. I can see a distance, but close up, I need my glasses. So, I go.
My old frames here too, and I loved the frames. And I'm okay if I thought there was a chance I would have to wear glasses again anyway, because my eyes were quite bad. And they said if they can correct your eyes to no glasses, it would be a miracle. And I am struggling right now with them, so I hope I get glasses. But like I liked having glasses.
They are very beautiful on you. Yeah.
These are fun ones. I don't know if they can use the frames again, but it's kind of funny because I identify myself with glasses because I've had them for so many years. And these are my Mel Robbins glasses. And I had them before she became pop. Everyone's like, you look like Mel Robbins. It's true. They say that now, even without the glasses. And I'm like, well, wait till I put on my glasses. You'll see how much more.
You do embody a bit of the way that you speak and your energy. I can see that for sure.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So let's wrap this up. How can people get a hold of you?
Yes. If you're on Instagram, I made it super easy. Rita Z Photo, RITA, Rita Z Photo. If you want to email me, I tried to make that easy too. Rita Z Photography at gmail.com. And my website is my full name, which is a little harder because Zietsma is a bit challenging to spell, but my website is my name. My Facebook is my name, Rita Zietsma. My LinkedIn is Rita Zietsma. Try to keep it across the board. But if you just Google Rita Z Photography, I will guarantee you I'll come up.
Very cool. One last question. What's next for you?
Oh my gosh, that's an amazing question. And so I've just been dabbling in the realm of exotic cars and doing creative photography with exotic cars. So it's not that I'm changing, I'm just adding a new genre. So targeting people with exotic cars, bringing them into a studio space and doing some really cool artistic type stuff. The goal being that these guys are going to put their metallic wall arts of their really cool car, a really cool image on the wall. I mean, we live in Canada. They can drive these cars 6 months of the year. That's so like, you want to see your baby all year long. Let's do that. So that's a genre I've kind of opened up recently, and I'm still working through some of the hiccups with that one, but it's going, and yeah, it's exciting.
That's really fun. That makes me think about a coffee table book as well. I call it almost like a anthology with people's cars. They could buy their chapter and have their car featured in this book or something like that.
Well, some of the clients already that have hired me for it just get their own coffee table book of their own car. So I'm having an outdoor session with them. We're going to different locations, the rolling shots, and putting them in it. As a portrait photographer, my goal is to have you with your car.
Right.
So yeah, then we create again story with your car and some amazing images. And when you're buying a bigger package with more images, then there's enough images to give you a beautiful coffee table book of your car as well.
So good. Well, you know what? Let's take a page from Linda. And you can put the shout out here to my network and to people that are listening. What's a referral? Like, who are you looking for? Like, who's your person that we could refer to you?
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Yeah. So because I do different genres, the one genre for the Beautiful Beyond 40 project, which I'm hoping to wrap up by October of this year, the ideal client is that woman who maybe is feeling a bit insecure in her like aging process and just wants to feel amazing and confident again, or celebrating a milestone. Anyone over 40. The oldest woman I've had in it is 102 years old. She was in my first one. Amazing. Just an incredible woman. So that's my first one, like just a woman who's saying, you know what, I want to be seen and I just want to do something for me and celebrate me. The branding one would be a business owner. Usually I get business owners who have been in business for, 4 or 5 years, and they're really now wanting to level up. They're making money. They're realizing, okay, now I can go out there and level up that website and really command the pricing and the investment that it takes for people to hire you. Their images need to show that. You can't have low end images when you're a higher end business. So those are the ones that are coming to me to say, okay, I want leveled up images to level myself up. Or the exotic car owners that are like, hey, you know what? That'd be really cool to have shots of my baby on a wall and celebrate my really cool car.
I love it. So good.
Thank you. Thanks for
Well,
having me.
yeah, for sure. Thanks for being here. And, it made me think about when you said about words and about the 3 words that you asked during and before the branding photo shoot. For anyone that's wanting to get more information about power words, I wrote a book. I released it just last month. It's called Declare It, How to Turn Your Personal Power Back On. And it's all based on my workshop, the Power Word Workshop. And so it's on Amazon, United States, Canada, anywhere that you can purchase books through Amazon. So go get that. It's I think it's $24 Canadian and something like that US. But yeah, so if you want to have more about this idea of power words, check out my book. So Rita, thanks for being here. and really appreciated our conversation. And remember to dare to declare.
Today, we've delved into the realm of manifesting giants, exploring the power of declaring our desires to the universe with unapologetic boldness. But before we bid adieu, I have a little something special to share with all of you dreamers out there. Introducing the Dare to Declare Vision Board magazine and online DIY Vision Board course, your ticket to manifesting greatness in style. Picture this: flipping through pages filled with inspiring images, empowering quotes, and step-by-step guides to help you create the vision board of your dreams. Whether you're yearning for that spacious condo with a view, or a love that sets your soul on fire, our magazine is here to guide you every step of the way. Dive deep into the art of manifesting with our exclusive online DIY vision board course. Led by manifesting expert, yes, yours truly, and seasoned dreamers. This course will teach you the ins and outs of creating a vision board that speaks to your heart and soul. So what are you waiting for? Join the ranks of the manifesting giants and dare to declare your wildest dreams to the universe. Head over to our website, debbisluys.com, and grab your copy of the Dare to Declare Vision Board magazine and enroll in our online DIY Vision Board course today. Until next time, keep dreaming big and daring to declare, because in the world of manifesting, the sky's the limit.